This conference will now be recorded.
Town Board will hold a public meeting beginning at 7 p.m. on Monday, November 7th, 2022 at the Town Hall at 4058 County Road N. You can also join the meeting from your computer, tablet, or smartphone by GoToMeeting. We have a quorum present. The meeting was posted on the website and at the Town Hall. I'll call the meeting to order. We'll stand for the flag pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have the minutes from our various meetings that we've had.
I would move approval of October 17th, October 18th, and October 27th, but with some changes on October 18th. Item 4, adding motion by Duplay, by Williams/Duplay to reconvene. That's October 18th. And the 27th, at the bottom, 2/3 of the way down, item 3, motion carried 3-0 instead of 4-0.
And the final one too then, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Motion by Williams, second by Duplay to approve the minutes for October 17th, 18th, and the 27th with the 2 changes. Any discussion on that motion?
Well, I was at the budget meeting.
You
I showed up late.
You came late.
Yeah.
The 17th.
On the 17th.
The 18th.
Was that?
Or the
18th.
18th.
No, the 18th? Yeah. Okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions, motion carried.
I have 2 closed session meetings too.
This place where I keep my house.
So is that the
That's why I
17th
wore this. 18.
or 18th? Okay. So that was 4.
You know, but you don't have who seconded the motion.
Oh, okay.
It's Duplay again.
Oh, same thing. The last one.
Yeah. I'm gonna approve the closed seconds and to keep them closed until,
There's our result.
yeah, basically.
Second.
The one addition,
The one addition to
on
the
18th.
18th.
Motion by Duplay, second by Williams to approve closed session minutes for September 19th and October 18th as presented with the one correction on 18th and to keep the matters closed until they are resolved.
Isn't this one? Shouldn't that would be open?
Not till the budget is approved,
Not
probably.
Until
Got it. Okay.
next meeting. No, 2 meetings.
Yep.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving to finance report and approval of bills.
You tired for the tractor, Dan?
We just got it fixed.
Well, it's pretty pricey for a repair, huh?
Yeah,
Buy a new one.
yeah.
I know all about that.
I'm sure you do. Wow.
Move approval of checks 35,809 to 35,841 be paid.
Motion by Duplay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Anders to approve checks 35,809 through 35,841 be paid. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. You also have in your packet the unaudited cash and investment balance of $2,345,598.04. And you have the October per diem.
Move approval on the per diems as presented.
Second.
Motion by Anders, second by Duplay to approve the per diems as presented. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Nothing else for treasure, right? All right. Next item, public concerns. Public's opportunity to speak to the town board about any subject that's not a specific agenda item.
That would be us.
Yes? Your name, please?
Leslie Peckham.
Michelle Klaus.
Barbara. We own property that abuts a strip of property that was just sold to a third party. And we're wondering how what rights this third party has to what is, it's been a drainage area, I guess, a water
A
pathway.
waterway?
Pardon?
A waterway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess one of the other questions, so it went to the county tax lien auction. And my question, I guess I'm kind of wondering how it got to that point. We were offered, the town offered to sell that to us as people who were adjacent to that years ago. Because you guys offered to sell it to us, I would assume that the town owned it. So I'm curious as to how it got to the point where there was a tax lien auction.
Town didn't own it. I think it was still in the developer's name.
Developers?
Yeah, I think it was still owned, it's still in the developer's name.
That American Heritage?
Yes.
Because that was one of those we saw earlier. And then you each should have gotten a notice from the county when it went up for auction.
We did. And it is a piece that is less than 1/10 of an acre. It's 15 feet wide, runs the entire north length of our property, entire south length of her property.
To the south.
Yes, and then 45 feet of it is butts into Leslie's property. And so we did more than the minimum bid. We assumed who's going to want that. You can't build on it. You can't do anything to it. And a third party that doesn't even live in Cottage Grove got the winning bid. So, yeah. So, we're a little concerned. I guess, of course, my husband's a little upset. We've been maintaining that the whole time. We've lived there 24 years. Leslie and Barb and her husband have prior to that. Last year, we paid for a couple of dead ash trees to be taken out of there. It cost $1,800. So for now, this year, to have somebody else that has.
Bought it.
Yeah.
One of the criteria even said bidder access to the property. So that would not be that other person.
Did you talk to the county about this? Because the county sold it,
We're not quite sure what to do about this and what rights this person may have.
Is that a landlocked parcel?
That's what I was just gonna say. There's no access to it, is there?
My guess is the 15 feet that would butt up to the cul-de-sac.
There's a picture of this piece, if you want to see it.
I mean, they're not going to be able to put in a driveway or anything like that, but, well, yeah, I mean, my bedroom's on that corner of the house. I'm a little concerned about that. Of course, they want to go out there when all the mosquitoes are out there. It gets crazy out there.
They would have,
Did the original person that built houses on it, or what was it?
The developer.
Yeah. that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So is this an outlot or
what's that?
it was just an outlot originally?
It's,
Never got dedicated.
15 feet by probably 150 feet long.
Oh, it's 280, I believe, is the longest.
For a sidewalk?
Yeah.
Who owns the property at the back end of all of your lots?
Well, that's
The extra
Leslie's.
road, you know,
I'm sorry?
yeah.
She owns the back piece.
So
This land.
that's Leslie's property.
Leslie?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Barb's property and then that's mine and my husband.
Yeah. We're just talking about path there yet.
Unless they bought it for speculation, they're gonna try and make some money by asking you guys if you want it.
And I had said, well, it's obviously your guys' property, you bid on it, I'm not, you know, what I want with it.
Doesn't look like it's a drainage way though.
No, it doesn't.
Where is your utility easement? Are all your utilities in the backyard or are they up front?
In the front.
In the front.
In the front and then along the other side of our
Okay.
property.
So there's no utilities going through there right now to the best of your knowledge.
Correct.
Right.
And it's not a drainage swale or,
Not exactly. It does say on the original plot from the subdivision that water drainage or water easement or something like that. That is, and then the piece that's right behind us had been an outlet prior to that. Leslie and her husband bought that. And that lot on the plot for the subdivision said to be, you know, used by the community or some feel good kind of stuff. So
We can't do anything to disrupt the drainage. There
right.
was something in there that we had a caveat with that. I don't know if that still applies. It's still a waterway that this person purchased.
Yeah.
so that's how it came to the thing, the tax lien though, as far as like it was still under the name of the original developer of the,
Doesn't he owe the taxes?
not anymore.
No, that's what probably, why they sold
Yeah, that's
it.
why they sold it, because Walt Olson didn't pay taxes.
Okay, so
A lot of people know Walter. Yeah.
Keeps on giving.
So there were a couple of other small pieces, not in our subdivision, that were also on that tax lien. Like I said, it 1,500, I think, were the other ones. Do you know of, I mean, we understand we're kind of this was a state statute. They followed the order they had to. My husband has talked to the treasurer because he was less than thrilled. You might have received an email from him. He was less than thrilled. Sorry if he wasn't nice. He was kind of angry, but you know, chances are they either, yes, are going to try to come to one or both of us and say, hey, give us lots of money. Or another theory is that they now have a piece of land that, according to the assessment, is worth $17,000. Right? Based on the size, you know, the size of it, 17,000. So they paid, I think, like 1,200 or whatever, 1,300, and now they have all this equity. They could take a loan against it, maybe. We understand. We're in a situation. We didn't think anybody was going to bid on it. We didn't bid as high as we should have. Another $98 and it would have been ours. Yes, yes.
almost like losing an auction on eBay at the last second.
You know, but I would hate for this to happen to anybody else in the town. If there are other people that are in this situation, you know, I guess I'm just kind of wanting to throw out there, like, is there anybody else in this situation? Is there a way that like, somebody could have come to us beforehand and said, hey, this is what's going on, and offered to sell it to the people who,
Have access to
The
the
only way that
property?
can happen, I mean, would be that the owner offered it because the town didn't own it, so we couldn't come to you and sell it. And that's why it has to go that way. I'm just trying to, I'm looking it up now, see if I can.
so how was it years ago that the outlot that Leslie bought was able to, yeah, and
Those were
At the time.
dedicated to the town
That was, yeah.
at the time of the plating.
but that outlot that was next to it was offered to us. We wanted to split it, and we were told, no, it has to go to one house so we can do the quick claim,
Quick claim deed.
yeah, to transfer it. And we talked about it, and I was like, well, why? We get along, and we've been just splitting, doing, mowing it for all these years, so. Yeah.
Does Kim have your contact information?
Did you sign in?
I do have Leslie's at least.
Yeah, I will.
I could look at the plat tomorrow and see what the original plat said
Okay.
about that.
Well, That's what I'm
Strip.
trying, that's what I'm trying to do here, but.
Well, now that person who bought it's gonna have to maintain,
Yes.
he's gonna have to maintain it. So I mean, if you have problems with him maintaining, you gotta come to us, I guess, because we have rules.
That's what I was wondering, is what are the rules? Because.
Well, we've got a regular ordinance.
Yeah.
They
would
gotta
have
maintain
to
it.
mow it.
So, you guys have been doing it for them for
Sure, I
years,
got my
obviously.
raspberry garden on
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna be happy about that.
it.
I
Probably not.
would bet you they're not, so.
Question. How would they get reimbursed for all their time and effort in maintaining that piece of property?
They did that on their own.
Yeah.
There's no
Send them
reimbursement.
a bill.
Well, we did have our wells are connected, and we had a bad
Oh,
piece
yeah.
of pipe in the spring that broke, and it was in that, 15 feet. So I mean, if something were like that to happen again,
I guess I didn't
we
think
split-
about
we
that
split
utility
it,
wise.
but-
We're on a shared well.
yeah.
And so yes, the pipe to get from
Runs underneath that.
goes, yeah.
You might want to check your original well agreement to see if there's any indication on the map, if you will, showing where all the wells are and where all the laterals from the well goes, to see if there's any type of agreement between you and Walt or the original owners and Walt to have access to that piece of.
Okay.
And if nothing else, if you don't have anything, the county sanitarian, they'll have all the septics and all the well stuff, hopefully. And you can take a look there.
It is shown on the original plan. It's outlot 3. It's labeled as an outlot, and it says surface water drainage easement, but it does not say dedicated to the public like the other outlet did.
Yeah.
So right now, it's showing ownership in the county, but they probably took it over for taxes, and that's why they're selling it. And I think it was still in the developer's name. If I remember right, I'd have to look back through old tax records. I can't get to
So
anything.
it shows it's a drainage easement.
Yep.
So it'll never be able to do anything with it.
Okay. They could come out and barbecue or whatever, I suppose, but
Sure.
They have to maintain it.
they have to maintain it.
Right. They'll have to maintain it now.
And I would make sure they do. You call us.
Yeah.
Be like on.
Very odd. Okay, well,
Yeah, that is weird though.
so.
What good is it to the guy? Or whoever. You know who bought it?
Some couple who lives off of Fitch Hatchery Road, behind Popeyes.
Be
like
interesting to
way-
talk to them and see if they just screwed up, didn't know what they were buying.
Oh, no, they knew what they were buying, and they went down right away and paid the rest of the money. And we thought originally maybe
That's
they
weird.
made a mistake, and yeah. Okay, well,
You know, it's like that person that bought that little piece on 12 by Scores Farm. They don't have any access. It's landlocked,
It is weird.
but they bought it from the state. But she didn't know what she was buying. So,
Okay.
So there's a to-do, we have
I
to
thought it
check the
was
well
illegal to
access
sell
or something. You
landlocked
guys know what
property in
you're
the state of
doing?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, Barb should have that stuff in hers, and then, yeah, if we can't find that, yeah.
Might want to call and
Sell it to somebody for more than you paid for
Uh-huh.
it. Extort those people.
We'll have attorneys do that instead. We've researched this person
Please
and
keep
it's
us
not something.
informed.
Yes,
what you
please.
find out.
Yeah, we would,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm just really curious how this.
I'd like to hear the rest of the story.
So is that atypical that they wouldn't be all dedicated to the town? Because I guess I'm just speaking from our subdivision, all the outlets were. So is that pretty unique?
Are you in Kennedy Hills?
Yeah.
Yes, we're
Long time ago.
just down the hill from you.
Yeah, I know.
So you're like, oh,
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, we're gonna stick in the same area on the next topic. So.
50 some years prior. Did different things different.
dedicated.
I mean, there are other, in fact, the other ones that are being sold, there's, oh, do you want your paper back here? There were two other ones in the town and they were kind of similar. One was that little piece up,
By the water tower.
Yeah,
kind
up
of,
by the
right?
water tower. There was a little piece behind that was still
Little
in
gas
Ed
and circle?
Olson's name. Yeah. And then there's another piece over on Aladar that's a little strip between properties like this. So I don't know if those were all just misdedications on old subdivisions or what.
Yeah.
Aladar is probably a waterway too.
That is a waterway too, I think.
Never got dedicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll let you know what we find out or
Okay.
be back with complaints that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing or.
The other thing I would be interested too, because of the fact it's listed as a waterway, you know, if they come in and start modifying,
Yeah, you can't.
You can't grade it.
you're right, that's
You
what I
can't
say.
regrade
They
anything.
can't touch anything. It's waterway.
So it's gotta remain
As
as much.
is.
Would they be able to, this was another question I had, because they're 2130, we're 2131, so there's not an address for that piece. Would they be able to like apply for a burning permit or anything like that, that they could, you know? I mean, because I know when we did our burning permit, we had to say what our address was, but then the address that we were gonna be burning things, they don't have an address.
Yeah, I mean, they don't, there are cases where farmers, have farm
Fields that don't
fields
have
that don't have
addresses.
addresses and they legitimately can burn because they're cleaning up their fields, but so I don't.
Technically got a CSM now, right?
Pardon?
Probably got a CSM now, right? So parcel.
Yeah. Yeah. But not always an address.
Yeah, no.
Right.
And they can't plant trees on it, so you don't have to,
Yeah.
Okay.
because that'll change the flow of the water.
Yep.
And if so like I said, the two ash trees that were dead, we had those taken out last year. They were getting dangerous when it was windy. They were dropping branches. There are a couple of box elders that are on there that do have some dead branches in there. And if those continue, then it would be their responsibility to clean that stuff up and out and, okay,
Mhm.
good to know.
It's their property now.
It's their property. Okay.
Pig in the poke.
Make sure they bring a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Can't build a shed or anything.
No.
Make sure you do though. I mean, if in the next few, well, not now, but in spring, if they don't keep it up, you gotta come back to town.
Nice to know that we do have that option, so I'll put my name on the sign-in thing, so you have our contact stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public concerns? Anyone online? Anything? No? All right, moving on, consideration of posting the polling place for no firearms allowed. Last week we had active shooter training. And that was the one thing that we heard a lot from the poll workers is, why are we allowing that?
They're afraid, huh?
Yes.
My goodness. When's the last, has it happened?
Really?
Yeah.
Look
You
at
know,
what's going on in Arizona, for God's
well,
sakes.
that, what? With shootings?
With people being freaked out about people taking
No.
pictures of them and
My God, it's a little different. A camera's a little different than a gun. Jeez, come on. How do you know that I don't have a gun on me right now? You don't know.
That's the big issue. That's the issue.
We're hoping.
But you don't know. If somebody's got a license to carry,
I'm just
What
gonna
is your right?
say this because these are my poll workers and I need them. And I don't think this is really about, how you feel about carrying. I think it's about keeping our poll workers. And if the majority of them are
Feel
worried
safe.
about this and feel that they aren't safe
that.
working, then I think we have to do what we have to do to keep poll workers. That's what I think this is about. I don't think it's about
Them
any
being
of
able to
the,
feel.
One
safe
thing you'll
to-
have to understand is that any place that over 98% of active shooters or mass shootings in this country are conducted in gun-free zones.
yes.
So if they're looking at putting a bullseye on their back, I guess what the hell?
That's another side of it, but like I said, I need to keep poll workers. I need to have people that will come and work the polls.
what if we just had our deputies hanging around here?
That's not even legal.
Highly discouraged. They are not supposed to be a constant presence because there are.
Isn't that terrible?
People are intimidated by that as well.
Well, some voters can be intimidated by that.
Yeah.
Now, you may not understand that,
Yeah.
but those people who are intimidated,
There's been people intimidated in this country forever. This is a democracy. That's why we have elections.
not,
when you're volunteering to
Oh,
work
my
for a
goodness.
poll and there's no recourse for those of us who work the polls. We
Mhm.
were out in the garage. Part of the active shooter training was to go over to the garage and see where we could possibly hide if somebody came in. And
I got it.
where some of us are situated, there is no place to hide. We're sitting there with, by the time you can jump up and open a garage door or try to run around to a room, seconds and seconds and seconds have gone by. Why can't we have a little bit of a firearm-free zone for the purpose of voting? For that one issue, that one little incident in your life, just to be able to walk into a polling place and not worry that somebody can walk in with a gun.
It's something to stop it from happening.
Well,
All
putting up
schools
a
are
sign would be a
fire-free
step
zones
in the
and they
right
get shot up all the
direction.
time.
No, it does nothing for you.
By
That
definition,
person's,
don't
if they
follow
want to come
rules.
in, they're going to come in.
So may I just ask, what would be the harm? Right, to your point that it may not
Just in the
stop
building.
some crazy person. Kim could not have enough time to call an officer, but what would be the harm that maybe it would dissuade somebody? And this matter has been discussed up at the Supreme Court most recently this summer when it was talked about the New York laws about carrying. And even though those laws in New York were lifted a bit, Clarence Thomas of the Supreme Court specifically said there is no room for guns in polling places. And that, yes, bodies like yours have that authority and responsibility to establish this government public place that can be a gun-free zone.
So what we got going is you're not going to show up if there's not a sign on the door, huh?
I'm not making any threat whatsoever.
I don't know.
Volunteered for 16 years for the elections. We're a dedicated group of people.
Got it.
Look.
Got it.
look, we're not going to sway Mike on this, okay? And I'm not going to try to, okay? But those are the rest of you that are open to the idea. Yeah, we hey, we'd like to feel safe. It makes us feel safe. We basically don't feel like it's a place to carry a gun. And all we're doing is asking our fellow citizens, our neighbors, our friends, in our community not to bring their guns in. Okay? Now, anybody, some bad guy who doesn't belong there, who isn't going to vote there and wants to come in and shoot us up, you're right, Mike. We aren't going to stop that. And no sign will. Okay? But just maybe we'll appeal to the better angels of our community, of the people living in our community, that, hey, you know, we'd appreciate your consideration on this. We'd appreciate you leaving your gun home.
You don't think you have that in the community now?
That's not the.
We're asking.
Sign's gonna change how people feel about coming to vote, that they're gonna
You know
bring
what,
guns.
Mike, here's how I feel about it. There's probably a very remote chance that anyone is going to bring a gun in tomorrow. Very remote chance. Okay? But what's the harm in asking, just putting a sign out saying, this is no place for a gun. Thank you. Okay?
Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just trying to be nice. I didn't want to interrupt anybody. I'm sorry, what?
Your name?
Oh, Tim Carls. I live in Cosgrove. I'm also a poll person. My concern about this is, and I work with you guys, and I think, you know, but my concern is, quite frankly, I do carry a gun and I've had it in there. Okay. And my concern is, what are you guys going to do if somebody does come in with a gun?
Well, that's just it.
Are you going to use your weapon and open fire and defend us all?
Wouldn't it be nice if I did?
You would be, but you can't guarantee someone who has a permit like that will have the courage to do it.
You might even make things worse.
I
If you misfire, if you shoot, or you get scared, and I know you're perfect with a gun, you've been perfectly trained.
No, I'm not. I don't want to be a smartass about this. I'm just saying, like he said, statistically, if it's posted, people are, you know what? I'm not going to be confronted. I mean, there's FBI reports. I mean, I'm not even going to get into all the statistics about this, and I'm not going to get riled up about this. But I'm just saying, this is something that I, quite frankly, feel attracts people that are there to harm other people. And again, I think if people know that if people can potentially have a gun on them, they're not walking in the building. My concern is, if I leave my home and somebody walks in there, I'm screwed. I'm done. I'm going to hold my clipboard up and I'm going to take it. I mean, at least if I have my weapon with me, along with other people I know that do come in there, at least I got a chance.
As a poll worker, I do not want to get in the middle of a firefight.
Oh,
You know,
you'd rather stay there and get shot?
It does
That's
not make me
stupid.
feel better to know that there are people coming in with
Yeah.
concealed weapons who could possibly start shooting.
Well, Mike, again, my concern though is you have no option if somebody does not have something to back themselves up. Zero. At least if it's, I'm a law-abiding citizen, so if you know what, if Chris decides, well, here, okay, let me back up. Here's my concern. This just came up the day before elections. This has been going on. I've lived in this community for 31 years and I've worked at the polls for a lot of them. Okay. Why does this have to be a rash decision at this point? Because we have active shooter training? Because maybe somebody's mad in Arizona? I mean, can we give this forward, till next election?
You know,
and
as I
talk about this?
understand, this issu's come up before and the board.
Yeah,
didn't
this is
agree
not
with
the
it.
first time.
Come up here.
Yes, it
Yes, it has.
They came up in for this office here.
I mean, I have no problem letting this thing run its
Not
course,
for the
but I
polling
just,
place.
Yeah,
was it?
2 years ago, the poll workers asked you to post the polling place for no guns.
Yes,
and it
we
was
did.
denied.
and what happened?
It was.
Nothing happened.
It was turned down. It was
Okay.
turned down.
It was turned down, and I'm still here to talk about it.
I voted for it, so what does that make me?
It doesn't make you anything. Mike.
My dad was a police officer. I lived with guns in my house for years and years. The world's different right now.
Yes.
But what is it going to prevent by you putting a sign on a wall to prevent that?
Probably nothing at all.
Exactly, but if I have my weapon with me, at least I got a chance.
I don't want to get between you and whatever.
Were you?
I'm not designating you as my protector.
I'm not asking you to.
I have a question. Were you planning to bring your gun tomorrow?
I carry my gun with me everywhere.
Do you have it on
That's not
now?
what I asked.
Great.
Are you planning to bring it
If
tomorrow?
if you guys post it, I'm not going to. Again, I follow
No,
rules.
if we don't post it, are you planning to bring your gun tomorrow?
Yes.
Or were you planning?
Yes.
So there you go. That's why it needs to be posted.
And if you post it, again, go ahead, Mike. Or Steve.
No, go ahead, finish up. I'm just in the queue, so to speak. Go ahead, finish your
Yeah, well,
comments. I just
and
wanna-
again, I know this is a very touchy subject, and again, I think we all can get along tomorrow night, but it's just, to me, it's just a sign on the wall. And again, it's not going to deter the person that wants to harm somebody. Okay. To me, it's something that's going to attract that type of person. Like he had mentioned, I mean, 98% of this stuff that happens in gun-free zones. And again, to me, it's just one other way of kind of chipping away at our liberties and different things. Ma'am,
He's got a license from the state.
Yeah, I mean, I can legally carry this.
So you don't feel.
I have no right to volunteer when I'm looking down at paperwork
Yes.
and concentrating on doing this correctly. And I have no right to feel safe at every moment of that time, not watching the different entrances, et cetera.
We're gonna have to do that though, if it's posted or not. We're gonna have to.
I worked in the town of Springdale as the clerk since 1997, and we had it posted for no firearms, and it did not serve as an attractant.
And I hope it doesn't. And again, I'm just
So I don't feel that
viewing
there are the
statistics.
statistics to support that. I
Okay.
understand your point of view just for your own right, but I am now looking at the right of other people.
Yeah,
Not be
again,
intimidated.
And
Yeah, Kristen.
I'd like to go back to just how do the poll workers feel about the posting of no weapons? And I think it's quite clear that the poll workers feel that the posting should be made. And we can make arguments here, there, and everywhere. But the point for this particular vote, I believe, is about the workers in the town of Cottage Grove at the election place, polling place.
This is a tough one, you know. I'm one of these people that can see both sides of it. Ms. Nancy Kobus back here and I had a very lively discussion about it here several days ago, and it was productive on both of our parts. And I too, I'm a former law enforcement officer. I have my concealed carry permit, and I do carry, not all the time, but I do carry. My point being is that I've never carried one into the polls. You know, I've never carried one here to a meeting.
Why?
Why? Because of the fact I don't feel unsafe here. Okay, I don't, and we don't. And I voted against having signs up because I do believe personally signs are an attractant. Okay, number one. Number two is that I'm concerned. With my discussion with Nancy last week about this, you know, I would be in favor of posting a sign, okay? Now, my concern is, and again, this is just because it's so late in the game here. You know, if the town board by consensus says, sure, we'll post a sign, but it would have no teeth, and I would worry that, God forbid, and I say that sincerely, if something were to happen, you know, would the town have any liability because of the fact we had that sign put up there? You know, I don't want to have an ordinance here that prohibits firearms anywhere on any town property at any time or whatever. To me, that's too far reaching. If we can post a sign at the polls, you know, I'm all for it. I would raise my right hand and say, you bet.
So,
but I don't know if we can, because of the fact there wouldn't be any penalty because we don't have an ordinance for it. We can't possibly come up with an ordinance, get it, you know, approved and signed and everything to be enforced before tomorrow morning. It would be just a sign, you know, to appease you guys and hopefully go ahead and maybe somebody who might carry in something, oh, I'll go put it in my car till I'm done. You know, you know, like I said, that's my thought on it. I would support a sign, but again, I don't know if the town, you know, there obviously wouldn't be any enforcement behind it, you know, because of the fact that we do not have an ordinance prohibiting the carrying of firearms on any town property right now.
I'd be for having a sign that says, please don't bring a gun. And that's fine for this one thing that's going on. I hate to see people in fear of their lives.
But by the same token, if it's concealed, you can't see it. You won't even
No,
know.
I'm with you. I gotcha.
And that's to me, that's the beauty of concealed carry. It's first of all, it's licensed.
Totally correct.
Two, it's not for everybody. I have family members that do it. I have friends that do it. But not everybody is going to take that responsibility. It's a
No, I'm
huge
with you. I
responsibility.
understand.
But I would rather be able to defend myself or others than just sit in the corner and say, please don't shoot me, because
Like
they
the guy
always
did in
do.
the mall.
Yeah.
Was supposedly wasn't supposed to have a gun and save
And then
lives.
look at Uvalde, Texas. They had the police there and they didn't even do anything. They let all those people get killed.
Yeah.
But it is a huge responsibility to own and carry a gun. I'll admit that, but I feel better with people I know that have them. Because I'm sorry, like Tim said, holding up a clipboard is not going to stop nothing. And like I said, I'm not picking on any of you people that don't like guns. But by the same token, call the police. They're not going to be here instantaneously. And they might not do anything when they come. And that's scary to me also. Because they so demean police, they're afraid to do anything now. So like I said, I respect all your people's opinions. I have a different one. And I would rather go down fighting and hopefully save other people at the same time
I
than
have a
just sit
hand
there
up.
and wait.
He wasn't done. Let him finish.
You can speak.
Do I have, I don't think I have your name though.
Scott Baran, Boran. I signed in.
Okay, ma'am.
The city of Madison has passed $1,000 fine for people who verbally or physically harass election workers. We have no protection for anything in the town of Cottage Grove. Does that make you feel good as those you who represent us? How many times in the past have we been here asking for anything? We haven't ever. We've just run dependable, accurate elections. And I think, listen to everything and all the training Kim has given us. And I think we have an exemplary crew. I don't know what anybody else hears about other elections elsewhere, but I think we have an exemplary crew. And any of you people that you are feel critical of all of us, we'd sure like to have you roll up your sleeves and join us and help work the elections. If people don't feel safe and they don't want to volunteer at future elections, maybe there won't be enough people to run the elections. Not a threat, just an observation. I've been in this for 16 years, so if I were a quitter, I would have quit way before now, fellas.
And I think that those are all valid things. I mean, my things. Again, you guys, I don't think you should be mad at me, and I'm not mad at you. I mean, these are all, okay, these are all just discussions, and this isn't Madison.
Right.
And I just feel, I'm going to kind of echo what Steve did, and I said it before this. I just feel this is like a spur of the moment thing. And again, I don't even know what the legalities or the background or any of this comes to or where it goes. Again, if the sign's posted, I'm abiding by it. I mean, I'm a citizen, and I agree with you. Being a poll person is a great thing that we all do. All right, it's not for everybody, and I feel bad that Kim is in this position. Okay, I mean, you've had this we've all done this for a long time, and like I said, I just don't know why all of a sudden it's such a big deal. And I
The
just want
active shooter training kind of made us think about it. Okay, I mean, to be honest with you, I wasn't sure what the position was. I kind of assumed public building, it's not a good idea to have a gun inside a public building, and that there was probably some ordinance or whatever. I didn't realize there wasn't. We have an active shooter training coming in, so my thinking is on that, and that was just a few weeks ago. And my thinking on that was, okay, why are we having this? Somebody's got some concern about it. Okay, so that's passing on the concern to the rest of us. Now we're all kind of thinking about it. That's where it's coming from. And if you're talking about short notice, well, gosh, they just present us with the active shooter training 2 weeks ago. There's the short notice. So, and it's not as if we haven't thought about these things in the past. And like Kim had said, this has been brought up before even.
You know, and these are things that I think about all the time, well before I went and actually got my permit to be able to do this. I mean, what set me off was our State Street and our city county building getting burned down by thugs. Okay, at that point, I'm like, you know what, I got to protect my family and people that I'm with. And that's when I decided to do that. I'll guarantee you guys, you're not going to worry about getting shot by me or anybody else that is legally carrying a gun. I mean, that's where I get upset with people saying anybody that carries a gun, I got to be afraid of that. The active shooter training was there to make us cognizant of what can happen. It's not about me standing there at my DS200 machine, watching the door constantly, my head's on a swivel. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to protect you or any of this other stuff. I would, because that's my natural instinct, but you're right. I'm not on this planet to do that to everybody. You know, but again, I don't want you guys feeling terrible and thinking that this is going to happen, because you're right, it could happen. You know, and I'm doing what I can do to protect myself and my family. That's the only reason I carry this thing.
Yes.
I am one
And
of.
another note, even though I do carry,
Just a minute.
I am one of these poll workers, and I was at the training last week, and I was supportive of this measure when it came before the board before. And so I do that we post the polling place for no firearms allowed.
I second that. And I was also one of them that wants to know that we're listening and that we really don't laugh. Just don't fucking laugh.
Oh, my God. Watch your mouth.
Jesus.
Motion by Williams, second by Duplay to post polling places as no firearms allowed is the motion.
Yes.
So once it's not a polling place,
Time comes down.
Right.
Yep. So this would apply like to future polling places for the town. So if this is the polling place in the spring, it would be here for that day.
Right.
We're not gonna have to come back and do this election by election, in other
Right.
words. Okay.
it's just for wherever we have the polling place located for that
Day.
election
Election day.
day.
Okay.
Motion and a second.
I thought we were talking about tomorrow, not forever.
Yeah.
This is on, her motion was ongoing.
Yeah, got it. I thought the whole thing was about tomorrow.
So
No,
it's
it
just
didn't say
this
anything
polling
about
place.
just for tomorrow. No. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Steve, I didn't hear how you voted.
Pardon?
How did Steve vote? I didn't hear.
Oh, I said it was an aye,
Sorry.
4-1.
Okay.
Thank you, poll workers.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
Next item, discuss Kennedy Hills residents' ideas for park improvements.
wow.
I'll stand over here so everyone can see. Nice to meet everyone. I'm new to Cottage Grove, have not been here as long as many of you. I just moved in January into the Kennedy Hills development. I have 4 of my neighbors over here, Jared, Tony, Josh, and Steve. We actually represent a majority of our subdivision today. So I guess the main topic of discussion, I think you guys have some background info from the looks of it here. So I was kind of perusing the town parks website and I kind of saw that assessment that was done a few years ago.
Yep.
Kind of discussing, goals for the town and really kind of metrics to shoot for, understanding this is not, an urban environment necessarily, but, certain wants to have parkland available to, residents within ideally a half mile to a mile. And I did notice it said, currently we're deficient, but there's not going to be an active approach to kind of fixing that problem, but kind of as new residents come in, hopefully improvements would be made. So, that kind of brings up the topic here. Kind of speaking of outlots, we have I think it's roughly 2-acre lot kind of in the middle of the development. And I'm not sure how familiar everybody is with the development, but there's a potential phase 2 to the north, and I think it can expand to 64 lots-ish, somewhere in that age. And right now we're at 16. So we're the far south end right off BB. So one of the things, and this was kind of varying feedback we got, was it was a little unclear to most of us that there would not actually be a kid's playground there. Kind of just looking at current residents actually in the development, of 13 houses, we already have more than 16 kids that are middle school or younger. That's not counting the other 3 houses that yet to be developed. I'm not sure of that. Really the big concern for us, I understand it's a green space, but our understanding is it's really not going to be mowed. It's really not playable. If our kids want to kick a soccer ball around or, play baseball or whatever, when you have grass up to your knee, that's not really conducive to doing any kind of activity in it. So what we're really hoping is to actually have some kind of kids playground there. I understand that we have kind of Stoga Park and then the other park along American Heritage over there. There's the 2 parks, but the problem is kind of from where we are, you're walking down BB to get there, or you're going up Kennedy Road, which also is conducive to fast traffic, and it's going over a hill. It's very difficult to see. I'm, as a father of 3 young boys, 5 and under, I'm particularly worried about that, very active, and I just want to see something kind of in our development. So that was kind of, I guess, our pitch. I did notice, and it was very helpful in the assessment, that I kind of highlighted, this was done several years ago, understanding pricing probably has increased. But I guess our point of view is we already have the park there. Why not kind of put something in there for the kids to actually play with? I did actually happen to go to all the parks owned by the town on the north side of town, and the only one I could tell that didn't have any kind of facilities in it was Nondal Park North, I believe it was called. It's kind of a smaller one with a little slope. But there's Nondal Park South, literally a half mile away, accessible by residential street. So it didn't really necessarily set a precedent. I don't know if you guys had anything else to add.
Thanks for having us here.
Yeah.
Kim, we've exchanged emails a few times. My name is Jared. Thank you for all the information. Todd summed it up well. I mean, you got a bunch of young families that got a bunch of kids, and we don't have easy access to a park. I mean, he mentioned going down Kennedy Road or BB, and it's like over a mile we'd be walking. And I mean, this isn't, of course, something that we need to, burden you guys with, but the builders and developers who, kind of planned this phase out, explained it as if there was a park there. And, all of us go into this thinking, great, park. And we find out, of course, that's not the case.
Did you ask them to show it to you on the plat?
Did you specifically ask, and what were you told?
Oh, sure, yeah. I had explicit discussions multiple times with
Dave Dinkle.
You know the man. So with the information we were given, and again, this is not just me or even just the 5 of us. We've talked with everybody in the development. They're all given similar or same information by their own, accord.
Which was what?
Well, I can speak for myself only, and I was told specifically that there would be a park developed there, that we would be able to choose what the development of it would be, and the funding of that, at least partially, is, again, this is as it was explained to me, and this is from my memory, of a couple different conversations a year or so ago, but there was a certain assessment that was attributed to each lot. Right. And of course, we understand that was paid by the developer, but theoretically, it's built into the lot price that we paid. Again, this is the way it was explained to me. That money, then we would be able to essentially pick how it was spent. And I mean, that we know, of course, now after the fact that that's far from the agreement that was made with the town. And, the way that, the funds are allocated is very different from that. I guess we're not looking to hold you to, our understanding of it. We're looking to find, is there a solution? Is there a way that we can work together and say, you know, we have a need, there's plenty of kids there. You know, it would serve a, you know, public interest, I think, having a park.
One of the downsides too, I think, you know, I don't know if maybe it was part of the plans in the second phase further to the north to maybe have a park, but the problem with that is now you're pretty much adjacent to the existing kind of Stowett Park. So it kind of makes it less useful in my opinion. You also have the little, it's very small, but the residential drive across BB on the south side, Buckley Ridge. You know, this could be more accessible to that stretch too. You know, instead of having to go, I guess, further north. I guess our thinking is we already, you know, the actual 2 acres is already essentially dedicated at this point to the town.
And that's basically just a walking path
Correct. Yeah.
right now.
So, you know, looking at the cost, that's why I highlighted certain lines. It's kind of like instead of, you know, if you actually were going to try to improve parks for, you know, future residents, you know, you already kind of have the land and everything already, you know, established essentially. So that's, you know, that's why I highlighted it wasn't maybe representative of the close to 120 grand, more like 75.
My recollection from our discussion with the developer when he first came to us and showed what he was going to, what the whole thing was going to look like, was that he was going to have land to the north next to the existing park, which we were going to basically have most of that as parking. And then we had your walking path, which, as I recall, we were thinking that we would put things in there more useful for adults for exercise as they walked along took their walk on the path, they could
Do a certain exercise or whatever.
a balance beam
Yeah, I remember that.
or, you know, something like that for adults versus children. But that the big part to the north would be the children's area, which is also used for soccer. That's why we were having some parking put there, because it becomes a problem with soccer being held there, parking on American Way.
Oh, okay, so that would connect, be there. Okay.
Well, speaking to a moment for the potential planning of a future phase, you know, we of course are looking at this and thinking, what if that never happens? You know, I mean, what if it happens in 20 years? You know, I mean, again, we're asking you to kind of look at it from our perspective and think, you know, is there a way to, you know, kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone here, instead of having a park that may never be developed, to have one that we could attempt to develop today and actually have kids using it. I mean, there's plenty of kids in the surrounding areas too that could use it as well.
Earlier this fall, when he was in for us to actually take the roads and the outlots, we did ask him what his plans were for phase 2. And I believe he said that he was going to work on buying his development rights that he needs to do that next year. Now, I can't hold him to it, but that's what he had told us. And I would hope that would be true, but.
So in phase 2, that outlot that you're referencing would be, so that would actually not be a park, it would be a parking lot for access to the existing park, if I'm understanding.
That'd be in phase 3 though.
That was phase 3.
Oh, okay.
Next to the retention ponds, yeah.
Yeah.
So really, we're not actually increasing parkland, it's just we're making it more accessible to outside.
For use.
Yeah, for use, if you wanted to drive there.
Yeah.
Because Wooded Ridge Trail is gonna wrap around and connect straight to Conestoga.
Correct, yep. And then like a big, yep.
Well, there's $20,000 there. What,
That would be.
do we have that right now?
Right, the park fees were $2,000 per lot that the developer paid, and so we have 32,000, but the developer also was to get a credit for what he put
The 10.
into the trail, and I just got that
Almost
today.
11.
Almost 11,000, so we have to pay back the developer that $11,000.
Yeah, I got that.
And so that leaves
Do you guys want
21.
to
Can I just ask how that works? Considering if you go walk this path, there are more weeds in it than there is stone. Like, it's probably a dusting worth of gravel, and now the developer gets to take our money, pay himself back. How does that make any sense?
Because, yeah, it's because we just got it.
I mean, it's not
We-
that you're-
We just started maintaining it and it never got touched all summer, basically.
It's just
It wasn't
a
ours.
bug and
Yeah.
weed infested is all.
Yeah, I sprayed it already once.
Well, to speak for a moment to the point that Tony's talking about here, I mean, if you think about this from our perspective, again, the financing, it's essentially, we're paying, all the lots in the neighborhood are paying into a fund that then is being paid back to the developer, and, quite honestly, it's not something we had any say over. And we, of course, trust the town to do what, is in the best interest and, with public input and all that. But I mean, again, look at it from our perspective here. We're looking at, coming into this neighborhood thinking we're all putting in a bunch of money, and then it, gets put back into essentially something that we all weren't anticipating and all wouldn't use. And then even to, one more step beyond that, it's then being paid back in part to the developer that, apparently is, did $10,000 worth of gravel. I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about gravel, but I don't know if that's $10,000 worth of gravel. So I don't know. But
the thing is that none of this money actually has to go into that development.
we understand that. Yeah, no, we do.
See, you realize that, right?
Yeah, no, we understand.
It goes into the town.
Yeah, I understand.
Not that that's right.
I get it.
I'm not saying it's
Well,
right.
and I think we're acknowledging that. I think it was just seeing that assessment, maybe we were hopeful, like, we're showing you a direct use case. This thing is literally gonna be packed. Like, right now, we congregate in the street, and that works because it's a dead end today. I don't know that that's always gonna be a dead end, and it's a little worrisome that, we don't have a park, and the green space that is there is not actually playable because it's up to your knees. Like, that's not conducive to actually even running around and kicking a ball.
But we haven't cut that yet, or is that ours to cut, or?
Yeah, we've been cutting it.
No.
We mow 6 feet around the outside of the path. We have for the last month.
Understood, but.
And then the center gets mowed like 3 times a year. So that was supposed to be natural grassland. We're supposed to let that grow up 3 feet tall, but he had to mow it for the first year, or we had to keep seed going. Basically, we're supposed to let it seed out, then mow it.
Which I understand.
Which it just got dedicated to us, what?
So this,
month ago?
Yeah.
and no, and don't take that, like, we're not going after the town. We understand it just got turned
Oh,
over.
yes, you are.
Oh, no, I wouldn't dare.
But when it started, originated, that's what it was supposed to be. So the center was gonna be nice, tall, flowering grass. And then we were gonna mow around the path that you walk on so you can enjoy nature, right? And then these workout stations would be around it, and that's what the whole plan was for it. When he came and gave his idea.
The residents that bought the lot are completely different than that demographic.
Yeah.
Understand, that's what he had planned in his development.
But are you saying that they said there was gonna be kids' equipment there? Dave
No, it was called the
Dinkle told you that?
It was anything he told me. I've got stuff with playground. It doesn't necessarily say that that's a slide and swings or anything. And I get it. And everything that Kim shared with us says
Green space, yeah.
That's
not the
exactly what
information we received, for sure.
I just want to warn you, when I bought my house out here back in 1984, they told me that there was going to be this gorgeous middle school built in just a couple of years. Okay, that was in 84. That middle school wasn't built till when?
2008.
2008.
That's a little different than a $70,000
Really?
park.
You think so?
116.
I mean, a building costs several
And
hundreds of thousands
we're
of
not-
dollars to build and maintain. We're just
When you
asking
built-
for.
When you bought that lot, did you put money in that you were told was gonna go toward that city?
Yeah.
Or that school?
School taxes every year. School taxes. I mean, what?
Well, we're still paying property taxes beyond that
I
2,000.
agree, but you guys took the word of a builder and a developer.
We did. You're right.
You should never
We
have
did,
done
and we
that.
never should have.
Yeah, but if we set that part aside and just say, okay, going forward, can we change the plan? Because with
And
16 kids
I'm
under
all for that.
15, can we,
I'm all
what's the
for that.
process?
Yeah, but with the
going
budget
back?
for that though.
Chris, is that like?
Yeah,
that's-
what
So it
options are
doesn't
in the
happen.
budget?
That
Well, this
one
year's
thing-
budget's pretty, it's gonna be
You're in?
approved December
It
5th.
is. It
Okay.
is.
Or it doesn't have to be tomorrow.
It's more
That's
of a
what we're saying.
rectangle
It's not
shape,
gonna be.
but it's around the oval that is the walking path, basically. So it's within that.
Is
So is
there-
there room in that area for anything like that?
Oh, yeah, that's not very big.
Yeah, no, and we're not, and I took a picture.
That's in Margot.
Yeah, that's El Margo, which one of the ones I visited that I thought looked pretty nice.
That's new. That's 5 years old.
And,
Yeah.
I know most of the parks have, some kind of athletic field backstop. We're not even looking for that.
We have
Just,
enough of those in the town.
well, exactly. We have one up the road with, 3 soccer fields and a baseball field, we understand. It's just,
Baseball by heart, it's fleet.
well, my kids play there, but I drive them
My
there.
neighborhood too.
So, it was just a representation. I think, obviously it was one of the newer ones I noticed and it stuck out as looking very nice. I don't know what, standard is, I guess, that the town would,
Drive your kids to Capitol View,
where's that?
the Bone Sack subdivision up here off of Vilas.
Oh,
Enjoy that one. That's brand new.
Road.
Yeah. Hope, and take a right on Oakwood. That'll wind down. Go visit that one.
I did not go south,
Yeah,
much south. I did look at, the one down Damascus,
Yeah, it has the newest stuff.
Damascus Trail. I forgot what the name of that one. Meadow was something.
It's right next to Steve's house.
Metal
isn't it?
Lark.
Metal
Yeah,
Lark.
so that was as far south as I went. I pretty much stayed in the north side of
Shadow
town.
Grove subdivision is the Damascus.
Well, can we clean that place up and put a small equipment base there?
One of these.
Yeah, well, I don't know what this is, but
Yeah.
In 2024,
you know what I mean?
Something like that.
Something, yeah,
you think in 2024?
for under 20,000.
Oh, no,
No,
not
I mean, there is a drop.
No,
no,
that's the thing.
about almost twice that. I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
You have to wait till your next budget cycle.
You haven't gotten the 23 catalog yet with the pricing on it.
No.
No.
But we can always put down more stone. Needs
Yeah.
stone.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of gravel there. It's just when they seeded it, you got a little wild with the seeding and it, what does grass do? It'll grow in gravel.
Yeah.
It's got aggregate in it. The seed gets buried, it'll grow. And it's mainly weeds on the path anyway, but I sprayed it once, but it'll have to be maintained. It was neglected.
Yeah, until we got it.
So Ken, you have this kind of playground equipment and that in that 2 acres that you were talking about?
Yeah.
It says yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that area there is only like 40 by 60.
And I think, when I say 2 acres, it's probably more than that. Would you agree? I have it on my phone.
The oval area is probably about 2 acres.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
You're talking
It's like
about
2
going
lots.
15 feet in, that dimension probably of like that square playground is
40 by 60.
Yeah, I was gonna say 50 by 50, maybe.
This is 40 by 60, I think it
yeah.
is.
So.
If we buy the equipment, are you guys gonna help put it up?
Sure.
Yeah.
100%
absolutely.
will. 100%.
Gonna say, how do you actually put this up? Is it
That's how we do it.
You'd have somebody there to
got
show you what to do.
lots of construction
No.
equipment that can build it
No.
up?
No, there's not.
You.
No, there's not.
No.
We'll figure it out.
That's how we-
As long
We
as
do
you're
that with
covered
our-
We would
insurance-wise,
make a
definitely-
day of it and.
We'll-
or a few days.
We'll dig out the dirt
Yeah.
and we'll bring in the sand when you're done.
Chips, bark, no
chips,
no sand anymore.
Yeah.
Playground
Our
chips.
neighborhood put up our equipment. We were fortunate that we had someone like you in our neighborhood.
So we will gladly help. If that's what it takes and if the budget's not there and we've got to come up with some kind of fundraising, I'm fine with that too. We want a park. We understand. We
don't own the land.
We reacted to lots that came for sale when there's only so many available at a time and signed a piece of paper.
Yes, there is.
But I don't know until I get that catalog that we asked for 23, I don't know what the pricing will be.
Well, shouldn't this go to the committee first or?
Well, the Parks Committee?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to take it there, but we need the catalog with some pricing
Yeah.
information.
I think this year's budget was already for something else, wasn't it?
The
Something else that was planned?
Next year.
for that, what they're gonna put up this week or next week.
That was this year's.
Yeah.
23's budget that's approved. The 40,000 you had in there, that's for.
We got
We
COVID
didn't
money.
have that earmarked for anything specific.
No,
Oh,
we didn't.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But we still have COVID money too, correct?
Yes,
Have you thought of using, is it ARPA that you're referring to?
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you familiar with the recent changes that kind of add a little more flexibility?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
we've been spending.
We've been using it
It was tough in the beginning. You couldn't do it anything.
because they didn't tell us that we could. But now we can use it for virtually anything other than lowering debt.
Well, my opinion is I think we should look into fixing that area up as a, playground area with the proper equipment. Do I need a motion on that or
Well, but.
we have to do other things before that, don't you think, or before we,
Just refer it back to the park committee and let them.
and refer it, and I make a motion, we refer it back to the park committee.
Second.
Motion by Fonger, second by Williams to send the Kennedy Hills
My wife's side.
possible park equipment back to the Parks Committee. So then when we have the meeting, we can send you an email that you can come.
Okay, perfect.
And then we can discuss what we can afford and what we can do
Okay.
at the
I
committee
appreciate
level.
that.
We should have a new book here soon because usually they want orders
Well,
before.
I went on their website and even asked for one and I haven't seen it yet. So,
Yeah,
I mean, we
that
can
was-
see everything online.
That was before
Yeah.
a budget meeting in
No, you
October.
never- you
She
never-
asked for that.
You
So,
can see it all online too.
Yeah, you don't want to, I mean, what's the status of all this stuff? I mean, it's all plastic and, I mean,
yeah, I don't know until you pick something out and ask them what the availability is.
What's that availability on playground equipment?
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, it's good. It's
it
fine.
is.
Yep. That's actually stayed pretty current because, I mean, the village is getting yeah, I mean, it's not like they're selling millions of this stuff, millions.
No,
of
I'm
these.
just curious, that's all.
I mean, they're right out of Cambridge, Wisconsin.
Are they really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Knee recreations, yeah.
They make the stuff?
No, they buy
no.
it from Burke,
Oh, they
Who
just,
makes it? but it's steel and plastic. It's just like,
yeah.
the plastic's basically like the decking, now, all the composite
Yeah.
boards.
anyway, there was a motion and a second. Is
Sorry.
there any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Did you ever take care of the steps? Did you get those?
Torn out,
taken apart?
no. Man, it's not that time of year yet. You're a busy man.
Don't be drinking it.
Yeah, there's nothing even on the website. As far as 23. Nothing on the website even for, yeah.
That's on our list though.
So you want to schedule that parks meeting once we can see 23 pricing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, once we can get that catalog and know what the pricing is, then we can have a meeting.
So it sounds like looking at the pricing based on the 2023 prices, theoretically, if things all looked good, then that would be setting in motion for a potential 2024.
2024 probably.
Or
No, I wouldn't.
He's saying
23,
23.
yeah.
could be 23, it just maybe.
If we can
late in
afford
the
it.
Year,
Understood.
Yeah.
depending on the availability of it and of course the price. Falls within that 40.
We're happy to work with you in any way that we can. I had a quick follow-up question. You mentioned the maintenance on the property, all right, in Kennedy Hills in general. You mentioned mowing it. Do you have thoughts for, you maybe have a complete understanding that we don't, of the maintenance of the, I guess you'd call like the retention areas, the drainage areas? Is that something?
Yeah, I just mowed them.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
Oh, you did that.
The bed area, we can't mow that
Yeah.
yet. Next year I potentially can, but we had to let that grow completely up, and then we have to leave it. And then next year I might be able to get in and mow the big one. But the other ones, I mowed all the hills and I mowed everything around, so.
Is that something that you plan to mow quarterly or something?
Yeah, it'd be like 3 or 4 times a summer.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then I'll do that ditch area too that doesn't have a property owner right there.
So are we charging, isn't the homeowners association really technically responsible for that?
I thought that that's
Not
what it
the
was for.
retention pond on that one, I don't think.
I thought it was.
I thought there was.
Yeah, there's an agreement.
There is.
There's an agreement on that, and so if we were gonna
You
mow
have
it,
an
then
HOA?
This is the HOA right here. And I think there is.
The president.
I mean, I think
All
there
right.
is an agreement that you have with the developer actually for.
well, it's with the HOA. I mean.
Yeah,
you know,
we haven't made an agreement yet, but if you'd like to make an
No,
agreement. we
you
certainly
are,
can.
the HOA has an agreement as part of the developer's agreement. The HOA basically inherits it.
We're only 16 of 64 lots, and that is sized for all 64 lots.
Yeah.
So Kennedy LLC also owns
Those retention ponds would just be for the first 2 phases though.
2.
Yeah. The phase 3 has its own retention ponds
Where's that one going?
So
back by that park.
it sounds like 2 points for discussion. We don't want to derail the meeting. If you'd like to, we could discuss this more right now. Is that
It's not
acceptable?
on the
It's
agenda.
not on our agenda.
Okay, we can certainly bring it up at a later time then. Would that be something that we could, I guess, submit for a conversation for the next meeting? then?
Please do. Yep.
Understood. I think that's all the questions. We have anybody else on anything?
I do. The large dirt mound that's in the back of the development, there's surrounding children that are using that as a playground. I've kicked them off that dirt mound multiple times. The last time they were using a piece of sheet metal to slide down it. So
Office chair too.
if we can possibly get some no trespassing signs or something out there.
Private property.
It's technically owned by the
It's Dave
developer.
Resop's. It's actually a Dave Resop's property.
Resop's property.
Yeah, he is also the developer.
Yeah.
Which is that something that town would get involved in though? I mean, I guess,
I would.
I mean, I know the liabilities on.
I would recommend we do not.
Hopefully
until he
not.
calls
It's his property.
us that they're
Talk to him.
trespassers. We send the police.
Yeah, they've been planning that a lot.
The outlets, as in your development, the
In the-
empty lots.
And them giant
No,
retention ponds.
The retention.
in the basin that,
You're the homeowners association, right?
It's owned by you.
but it's owned by the town.
It's our property, your kids, right?
Not my.
Not all kids.
It's just random.
Other people's
My kids
kids?
aren't old enough to
Yeah, our
do it
kids are
yet. I
old.
don't want them to learn.
The next
Where are they
neighborhood
coming
over-
from?
The next neighborhood.
I don't, Ken, I don't know if it's been you that's been driving a UTV in there, but somebody's down in there driving around.
We don't own a UTV.
UTVs, kids.
Really?
Yeah, so we're like, how do we handle it?
You need to
guys
call
want
the
it,
police.
Call the police.
You need to call the police then.
Yep.
When it's
911.
When it's happening, so they can get out there.
If it's emergency, call 911. If it's non-emergency, call the Dane County Dispatch non-emergency number.
52345.
Yeah.
It'll probably
They'll get
be
you,
one
I
of our
mean, they'll get you in
deputies.
touch with somebody right away.
Go out there.
It's not like they'll put you on hold, but.
I mean, is that something like we could put up like no trespassing signs?
With Dave's permission on the dirt pile.
Well, no, I'm
Under
talking
retention.
about the big
Retention
basin
pond.
that you're not supposed to drive vehicles on because of the, fill, right?
There's people that walk their dogs back there all the time.
Well, technically, I think that was part of that's why it's flat.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out, because like we can go out there as the HOA and put a bunch of signs, but.
Because they're-
But like, I mean, obviously, I don't even care about that. It's grass, right? I don't want them compacting the fill and then it doesn't work as designed, right? And now.
They shouldn't be in the retention pond itself, yes.
Correct, and that was the big thing Steve noticed. We talked about my house actually kind of overlooks it, so we talked about, I don't know, throwing a camera on my porch or something, but,
Trail cam.
or just, yeah, basically. But, okay, well, that's good to know how to respond.
Where were the UTVs coming from?
I'd like to
You
know.
gotta
how
get a
it's out
license
there.
plate. They're supposed to have license plates
I
on
mean,
them. Get
technically,
a number,
there's no traveling
and
in
if
any
you
county route.
call the police department or call the sheriff's department rather.
They'll send our officer.
Yep, give them the license number and
Okay,
All right,
Well, appreciate it. Thank you.
very good.
Thank you very much.
appreciate your time, folks.
Yep. Yeah, thanks. Good to meet all you.
Consideration of resolution 2022-11-4 adopting certain fees. And we had basically 2 line items where we changed the fees. Multi-dog and preliminary plat and final plat.
I move approval of resolution 2022-11.
Well, no, it should be 7.
Seven.
Can't
Should
keep
be
my
7.
straight. Should be 7.
second.
Motion by Williams, second by Anders to approve Town Board Resolution 2022-11-07. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion
Who
carried.
seconded that? I'm sorry. I'm
Steve
losing it.
Anders.
It's been since 8 o'clock this morning, so I'm losing it here.
Consideration of adding fraud protection services to the Monona Bank account. It doesn't cost us anything, but I think it is a really, we download a spreadsheet for what checks we write and
Every time you process a batch of checks, you have to send basically a spreadsheet to the bank that they know that those are the checks that can
and
be.
the
coming
amounts that
through.
were.
And then, so that's one side of it. That's the check positive pay. And then there's also ACH positive pay, where you tell them who's authorized to pull money from your account.
Pull it
Those are the
automatically.
only ones that they allow. So, the state agencies and whatnot that we pay that way for payroll liabilities and
Yeah.
health insurance. and
Motion approved.
Second. Motion by Fongers, second by Duplay to approve the fraud protection services offered by Monona Bank. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. And we have select interviews, questions, and proposed times for interviewing for treasurer applications. Applicants.
I'm willing to do it.
I'm willing as well if you need two of us.
I think Chris should be involved because he's the one who sees the day-to-day operations and knows what the treasurer
I'll come and listen.
really does. And I think I should be in on it. I don't want
Oh,
to
yeah.
really be a participant so much, but I think I might
You're-
see some things that you might not, or not see some things that you.
I think you
Okay, so-
definitely need to be in on it.
Just board members, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I'd say I nominate Chris and Christie to be interviewers.
Second.
You want to have 3 in case we don't.
Well, I don't know.
Somebody to
thought
break the
Kim-
tie.
Kim should be on it. That's what I was asking.
But I don't want to vote. You don't want me to vote. I can just be part of it to kind of see, you guys.
I think we'll be able to work it out. You can arm wrestle.
Man, I hope we
So she's
win.
just gonna sit in other words.
Kim will
So
sit.
we don't need to decide, that's up to you guys, the two of you.
I guess. So Mike made the motion. Who was the second?
I did.
Aye.
Anders
Was the
Mr.
second.
Anders.
To appoint Christy Williams and Chris Hampton to the interview process for treasurer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Now, who are we going to interview?
Well, that's in closed
That's
session.
closed
That's closed
But
session.
but the question for now is,
Questions?
I pulled out the questions that we
That we
used,
used.
the interview questions that we used back in 2014. I honestly didn't hardly then look at them myself, but if you want to use those questions or if you want me to try to find more.
I don't think there's more. I think you should have less. I think you're ambiguous.
but-
4 or 5 or 6 of them.
Okay.
They're the same thing.
17 of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's
There's a lot of questions.
6 or 7 that really are the same thing as other
Okay.
questions.
Which ones are you proposing we drop?
Tell us why you feel you're a best candidate for the position. Because it goes through
Right.
what's going on there. What do you consider to be the most frustrating aspect of your current job? That's not our business. Do you have the ability to multitask? Geez, what a question. Tell us what you consider your greatest strength and your greatest weakness. We're not really going for rocket science here, scientists. That's about the only ones I thought were questionable.
Okay, what were the numbers?
That was
2, 7, 9, and 10.
Yeah, 2, 7, 9, and 10.
9 and 10.
A lot of the other ones you're gonna
Okay.
sit and discuss after. But this is not a bad questionnaire. I mean, it's,
Is everybody all right with that? Is there any others that you want to delete or add? Modify?
I think the last page is fine. When you guys get done, you add up your points and
Yeah,
simple.
okay.
Okay. And then the next question is, when do you want to do it? And do you want to try to get them all to come? Well, I don't know how many it's going to be yet. We'll know that later, but do you want to try to do it all in one sitting or what's the availability?
I would just soon do it all,
I
have them all at once
agree.
while everything's fresh.
agree.
What time of the day or night and what day or night would you like to do it?
We can fit it into your schedule.
Do it, I can do it anytime.
I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be tough to get things going this week.
Yeah.
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 So the week after that, give me a couple of possibilities and I'll have to see what I can.
I would say by these, you're probably talking about 45 minutes or so for the interview.
I can do 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th,
Let's go with the
Anytime.
14th.
anytime during the day.
You want to do them during the day? Okay, so the 14th, what is that? Next
Monday.
We will
Week from today.
not be here, right? So it'd have to be in the afternoon.
Okay.
Okay,
So you want to start at,
1.
okay. 40, and allow 45 minutes? Okay.
And I would
That's a long time.
pretty much, well, you never know. You might run into somebody that you really want to.
What if
Talk to 'em more.
I have somebody that can't make that day? You have a second choice?
Is Amber here on Tuesday,
No,
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
If they want the job, I'm sure they'd be here.
Yeah.
How about the 16th for you?
After 1,
16th after 1?
Okay, well, I'll try to get him on the 14th, but if I got somebody that can't on the
after
14th.
1:30, actually,
Okay,
Sorry.
1:30.
1:30.
If I have somebody that is not available on the 14th, I'll try to get him on the 16th.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll try to get him on the 14th. I don't know if you need any motions for all that or not.
no. So discussing, consider proposed updated intergovernmental agreement for Deer Grove EMS District. Finally, I would propose that we send it to Mr. Cole for his review and comments. Works for me.
Sounds good.
So moved. Motion by Duplain,
Second.
second by Williams, forwarded to Mr. Cole for his comments.
You want to ask the chief what he thinks about it? I mean, he's here.
No, where is he? Oh, there he is.
He's been here for a while.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Moving to Public Works and road right-of-way permits.
No permits, again. We just keep getting asked for extensions, and I figured it out. So when they fill out the form, they put on their proposed work date,
Oh,
and they put an expiration date on it. So that's where they're getting confused. So we've been getting emails from a TDS, basically.
yeah.
They want extensions on their own permits, and we don't put a date on it, they do. So they're not done with the work, and they're already past their expiration date. Anyway, I'm telling them to keep going because it's not expired on our end. Anyway, there's no work. I'll keep this other part short. Talked to our gentleman who sells us our international trucks, our big plow trucks, and we will have one due in 2025. And he said they're already filling up their orders through 24. So he was wondering if we'd want to sit down and at least figure out what we want to build and order it. And we won't have to pay a dime or anything till 25. We'll basically order it for 2025. Now, so we get put on the list. Otherwise, if we order in 2025, we're probably not going to see it till 2030
26 or 27.
or 2030.
Wow.
Because they're booked already now through 24. That's 2 years, that's 2 years from now. So if we wait till 25, it's probably gonna be more, unless it just somehow just gets back to normal, but I don't think it's gonna.
Oh, ye of little faith.
I'm okay with that. Should we put that on
There.
next?
I just heard the same thing today from our ambulance manufacturers that they might be able to get the chassis in a time that we'd like it. And we're looking not for the ambulance that we're going to take delivery of, but for our next replacement, which is in 3 years. That if we don't put ourselves in line sometime in the middle of 23, we might not be able to get an ambulance in 25 because they simply don't have the staff. It's gone from not being
Thing
able,
is, you can't order chassis though from the manufacturers.
but they don't have the production time to make more. So they have been reliably getting chassis is what they're telling me, what the regional sales director is telling me.
But
they
you don't
have-
know what a chassis is gonna look like in 20, for you, 2 years out. And I don't, the way the
I'd like to think
Chrysler's going, I mean, way Ford and Chrysler are going, we don't know what the heck they're even gonna be building.
Yeah, I'd like
2
to
years
think
from
that
now.
the frame rails are gonna stay the same, and that's all that really concerns us, but.
I get the idea of maybe getting a slot for a box, but
Even on the remount end of it, because our next 3 builds theoretically should be remounts, they're planning coming up on 3 years out for even a remount.
How do we do these things 2 or 3 years in advance? Instead of.
No idea.
Order it, but you're not gonna pay for
But
it until
they-
25.
Is that the way these people say, hey, we ain't gonna do it, we can come up and say, in a year from now, we're not gonna do it.
So basically what
Do
happens
they have
is,
us on a contract?
Well, yeah, then they cancel your order.
and sell it to the
and
next
then-
person
Yeah,
right
the
away.
next person in line moves up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, that's what they're doing. Basically, they're just keeping a computer list of everybody that wants a truck.
They're keeping their staff working for the next 10 years, probably.
Well, yeah, they can, they know how many trucks a year they can build. And so that's what they're doing. Because during COVID, they laid everybody off and
So
got behind.
when you say, well, we're due for a new truck and blah, 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 is that
So
is that factual?
our big trucks, we do every 15 years.
Yeah, okay, so we're up for one,
In
this is 15
2025.
years?
In 2025, it'll be 15 years, yep.
Oh, no kidding, eh?
2010 truck will be replaced.
That makes sense.
Are we gonna be held accountable for any price increases then?
Of course, we don't have a price.
Oh,
We're gonna have it.
You're just getting in line.
We're just getting in
That's all
line.
that's gonna do it. Why don't we do it? I mean,
Well, that's why I'm asking if that's what you guys want me to do, or do you want me to wait and shop?
I don't think we should wait at all.
No.
I mean, International's done well. I mean, our trucks have been fairly well.
Get us a spot in
I
line.
would do
Let's see, well, who else is making chassis?
Well, you got Western Star, you got Peterbilt, you got Freightliner, you got Kenworth, you've got Mack.
Yeah, but you don't see many road trucks, Western Stars or
over the road?
Max. No, I'm talking about your type of truck.
Oh, yeah, they were popular in 2019.
DeVore has a Western.
Yeah.
How do we do that without bidding?
2019
between
Western Star
4 or
was
5
big.
companies? Just say, well, we're gonna buy from Ford or something? Can we, that doesn't seem,
Well, International
I don't think we've
statistically
done that in
given
the
us the
past.
best price over the last 10 years I've
well,
worked
but
here.
still, I mean, I'm saying, we don't know that for sure.
Well, aren't you, like you just said, aren't you just getting in line? And
Yeah.
then if you get out of line, somebody else will move up.
Right, at the same point in
If I
time.
check around and I mean, if Peterbilt and Western Star and whoever Mack will give me prices and, you know,
You're not getting prices from anybody, really.
nobody can give you a price.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you.
What a screwed
So
up job.
in 24, we'll shop for price.
Jesus.
But why not get in line with every
Actually,
other manufacturer?
23,
In line with all
23, I'll
five
probably
of
have
them.
to get a
I agree
price.
with Mike, get in line with all of them.
Yeah,
Some of them I wouldn't want.
Well, the ones you want then, the ones you want.
Yeah, there's only a couple that I would think about getting in line with, because some of them are gonna be way out of our price range. We're not gonna want it. Like Peterbilt and Kenworth, I don't think you even want to get in their line.
No.
They're always 10 grand higher,
Yeah.
just for the chassis portion, you know.
Well, if you're getting 15 years out of a vehicle, it's a pretty good vehicle.
And we're getting
I
good
would say-
resale out of them yet too, so I mean,
Yeah.
doing good. I
But I
think,
mean, we gotta go to more than one company. They must all have the same sort of deal. Wouldn't they be that you,
But Mike, not if you can't get it.
I understand that.
some of the other ones are further out.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Internationally, he's just a good guy. He called me and,
Well, we've had good luck with,
yeah, they've been very, very good.
for the most part.
He tends to beat everybody's prices pretty good. That's all I had.
I'd say get in line for 25. Get us on the list at least.
Okay.
However many you feel that
Okay.
it's gonna be a good price.
Clerk's office. Get you home early here, yeah. Board reports and communications. I don't have anything. Committee reports, Deer Grove EMS Commission. God, that was a long time ago.
Got Eric here, but
And the meeting was, I think, almost as late in the month as it could have possibly been, with this one being almost as early in the month as it could possibly be.
can't
Yeah.
remember right now.
We met,
Paid bills, we adopted the metrics.
We went.
Adopted the metrics.
for in the IGA, there was performance metrics.
Performance
that was-
measures.
Oh, the metrics. Okay, got it.
Can't remember.
And we got an
Talked about
update
the
on-
flex
on
grant.
what the Truck was.
The 10-year capital budget. Update on the radio replacement, which there's in the same spot as that day.
Okay. Moving on. Consider adopt a motion to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. Review treasurer applicants and select interview candidates. Motion by Duplace, second by Williams. Roll call. Fonda.
Aye.
Anders. Hampton. Aye. Williams.
Aye.
Duplace. Aye.
Okay, so stop recording and,
This conference will now be recorded.
We were allowing
But she's
45
recording.
minutes, but I'm thinking we could probably interview him for a half hour and then have some time in between
Right.
to talk.
Yeah.
So
So
that
45 minutes.
Yeah.
spacing,
Yeah.
but
I move we adjourn.
second,
We were talking about spacing.
Motion as a second. You play it, Anders. It's non-debatable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed,
Just
same
waving at
sign.
me.
Motion carried.
You start talking with our hands, it's time to get out of here.
Did you hear the latest?
This conference will now be recorded.
Cut it down.
117 beds left.